Do you remember the story when Mary was carrying Jesus in utero and she goes to her cousin Elizabeth's house, who was pregnant at the time with John the Baptist? And the Bible doesn't say it, but it paints a pretty vivid picture that at this specific point in time that Elizabeth had miscarried, that John had not been moving, there was no movement, and you got this real sense of fear and dread that this woman was carrying, for fear that she had lost this baby. And if you remember in the story, it said that when Mary came in the room, and she came in close proximity, and you get this picture like it was almost like belly to belly, these two pregnant women. When Jesus came into the presence of John the Baptist, that he leapt and life was restored. And God started peeling that back for me and showing me a couple of things with that. And the first thing he showed me was that neither John or Jesus had ever met. They were completely unaware of each other's presence at that point. And that neither one of them were asking God for a thing, didn't have faith for a thing. It was just the mere presence of God that John came in contact with that restored his life. You let that settle in for a minute, because it really kind of flies in the face of when something that you're praying for doesn't happen. The first thing you want to say is, I didn't have enough faith. There was no faith here. It was just the presence of God and the anointing in this moment, right? Or there's been times where I have, asked, had been praying for something and I didn't get the result that I wanted. I'm like, well, I just didn't pray hard enough, or I didn't ask the right person to pray over me or intercede on my behalf. That kind of flies in the face here. It was just the contact with the anointing that brought the miracle. And so he started showing me that. He was like, listen, take the pressure off yourself, because I'll get caught up in that, right? I'll get caught up on like, how do I pray? What do I specifically say? There's a lot of pressure I put on myself whenever I am trying to help other people, or even help myself in certain areas, that I don't want to get it wrong, or I want to be able to say the right thing. And he's like, it's not the words, it's not the spin in the prayer. It's just the presence of me in you. And so he is really bringing me to a place where I have a level of expectation now that because of the anointing that I carry and the anointing that you carry as a believer, that when you come in contact with other people, that God is going to move and do something, even if you don't ask for it. He's going to move and do things in people's life that come in contact with you just because his presence is on you. And when you think about it that way, it really takes a lot of pressure off. It takes the pressure off you. It puts pressure on God, right? And so I challenge you, and I'm walking this out myself. Just try to wrap your mind around that and put a demand on that anointing that, God, I am believing you that whoever comes in my path today, they come into contact with the presence of God in me, in everything that I carry. And I have an expectation that you will change them and change the atmosphere around me.